Hey guys, so I was going to make my how to pattern a slipper video this morning, and then I realized I'm out of brown paper and I didn't have any slippers with me. So today when I go into shop, I'm going to grab those things and get that sorted tonight or tomorrow. And I'm just going to take my time on it so I'm very clear for all those who have never patterned before. But I wanted to do a really quick video giving 10 tips because I was working on my Christmas dress a couple minutes ago, like 15 minutes ago, and I was like thinking about things that I've been thinking like, oh, I need to work on this, oh, I'd like to do that, and so I thought I'd make a quick video to share some of those tips with you, tips that I also need to keep in mind. So first tip is always to double check your pattern measurements. So when you pattern out a skirt and you draw on all those pleats, before you cut it out and start stitching it together, go through and just double check those measurements to make sure that when you pleat it, it will actually come to the right measurement for your waist. I get really frustrated because I will usually quickly, oh, pleats works wonderful, I've done this 1,000 times, this time it'll be perfect, and I cut it out and I pin down all the pleats and it's an inch too big or it's 3 inches too small, and so I have to go through and rework that whole math, and it's a lot easier to rework that on paper than on fabric. Second is, especially with things like blouses and dresses and things like that, always to double check your pattern measurements matching. Like, you have bodice front, bodice back, make sure the side seam is the same. It's not a super big deal most of the time if it's off a little bit, but it can be a problem, so you always want to double check, shoulder seams, side seams, check your front seams, check, these seams, just double check those seams, to make sure that it's all going to fit together like it should, and you can save yourself a lot of grief doing that as well. Third, and this is my big one right now that I'm really pushing on, is to work your slowest on your finishings. So you have your blouse and you put it all together and it looks like a blouse, and all you have to do is, put on the front placket and hem it up and finish the insides and put on some buttonholes and buttons, and so you're just going to go through that because it's not a lot and you're going to just zip right through it. That is where I make my most mistakes because I'm so excited to finish this garment. It looks like a garment that I just zoom through finishings, and in the end, this is a big problem I had when I first started sewing my Lolita stuff. You have a great garment, but it's not so great on the inside, and those things really can make a difference in the quality of a garment. So really just take your time on those finishings. Take your time putting in those buttonholes, making sure they're right. Always finish off your insides. If you're just pinking it, if you're just doing a double stay stitch, whatever you're doing, take your time on it and make sure that you do finishings on the inside. Fourth is to take your time to redo mistakes. If one thing I have to go back and redo is a collar on a shirt that I made last year, on this long sleeve blouse, and the collar was a couple inches too small, and I said, you know what, screw it, I really like this blouse, I want to wear it, I'm going to do it anyways, and it's not right, so I have to go through, take the time to take off that collar, make a new one, put a new collar in, and it would have saved me so much time to just have redone the collar right when I noticed the mistake. So just take your time to redo that and really try to make it the best garment that you can. Fifth is invest in good materials. This is something that I've really discovered is super awesome in making something look great. Like with my birthday dress, I took the time to save up the money to buy some good lace, instead of just being like, well, I'm doing this to save money, so I'm just going to buy cheap things that look pretty, when they might not be the highest quality. And I just spaced it out. I was like, it's going to take me a couple months to make this because I need to make it work in my budget, but it really is worth it. I wish I had done that on this blouse. I really like this blouse, but I was like, red lace doesn't exist, and I don't want to dye red lace because I have to dye things all the time, and I don't want to have to go in and dye things for me when I'm dyeing things for the shop, and so I decided, well, I'll just buy some red lace fabric and I'll make that into like lace trim, and I mean, it looks fine, but it doesn't look great. And I really wish I would have invested in getting some good quality cotton lace and dyeing it. So really invest your time and invest your money in good materials. 6, mock up new things. If it's your first time making a blouse, don't go right into fabric. Get some really cheap muslin, get some leftover fabric, cut that thing out, and make a mock-up of it first. That way you can make sure that it's going to be long enough. It's going to fit right. You know, the sleeves are going to be exactly what you want. All those little things, especially on new things, it's so important to mock it up first. And it's a really big learning thing too, to mock things up first. You discover something before you go into fabric that'll make your end quality a lot better. 7, try new things as follow-up for that. Like if you've never made a long sleeve blouse and you've made, you know, a couple short sleeve blouses, make a long sleeve one, you know, learn something new. That really helps to improve your sewing so much when you're doing new things. You learn different stuff, you learn new techniques, and all that stuff works together when you're doing new stuff. So try new things. 8, try different techniques for doing things. You know, if you've always put in sleeves a certain way and someone says, oh, well, I don't do it that way, I do it this way, try that. Or if someone does finishings different, try that. You know, if someone patterns something different than you do, you know, try different techniques for things, because you'll learn something new that way. You might find something that works better, you might not, but it just grows your knowledge, and that will help you to be a better seamstress. 9 is to keep your materials organized. This is very, very helpful. I have like a little cabinet that has all my thread in it. It has all my machine foot and little drawers, and I keep like hooks and bars and things like that in the little drawers. And my bobbins have little holder things. And then I have another one that has elastic, it has twill tape and grosgrain, it has buttons and ribbon, and I'm able to keep all that sorted. I have a big bag full of laces, and I keep that. I always roll up all my leftover fabrics, and I have a shelf where I put leftovers that are like, you know, over a foot that I could like potentially make something out of. I keep those out, and the smaller scraps I put in a bin in my closet, neatly organized. That way, if I'm looking for something, I can find it quickly and easily without a lot of hassle, especially if I know I have it. You know, I know exactly where to look. And last one, 10, which will lead into the next video, is to check your sloper at least once a year. I ran into this problem earlier this year when I was making a blouse, and I was like, oh wow, this neck edge is not right, and my shoulders are not this wide, and you know, your body changes and you need to be aware of that. So always just check your sloper, make sure that, you know, you're keeping track of things that have changed. If you've lost weight, you've gained weight, you know, anything like that. If you're wearing push-up bras more, that changes stuff, you know. So you always want to make sure, check your sloper, making sure things are fitting great. And yes, so those are my 10 tips, 10 things that I have realized that I need to work on, or that I have been working on, and so I thought that would be helpful for you as well. And if you have any additional tips for our other fellow Lolitas who are sewing, post them below. It'd be really great. We love sharing tips, right? Yay, sharing means caring, and that makes friends. So I'm going to get materials today to show you how to pattern your own sloper, and then I'll also show how to fit that sloper, make sure that it's right, either tonight or tomorrow. That video should be up by Sunday. So thank you so much for watching, and I love every one of you. Hearts, and have a great Friday. Bye.